Hello, I'm the Emperor's Painter, and this video is part of my series on Warlord Games' epic scale Hail Caesar range, focusing on the Punic War period. As you can probably imagine from the title of this video, today we're painting Scipio Africanus as well as Hannibal Barca from the set. These are the two miniatures that come with the Hannibal box set, which I bought, that are the epic heroes. Anybody that is impatient and doesn't want to watch the whole video, this is what they are going to look like at the very end. This is just a preview. Starting now with Scipio Africanus, working with the zenithal highlight, we're going to go with the horse, and anywhere where it's really dark, like black, we're going to be putting in the Stonewall Gray from Vallejo, just to make sure the contrast isn't too dark on the white horse. Now we're going to apply a generous mix of apothecary white contrast paint to the horse, just to add back in some contrast into the deeper recesses. Now we take an ultra fine tipped brush, and what we're gonna do is take Corax white and highlight back up the raised areas of the horse, including everything that's facing up, but also all of the raised areas of the muscle. Now we're using the bold titanium white from Pro Acryl to really add the final highlights to the horse. This is Army Painter Purple Swarm, which I will be using for the cape as well as the plume on the top of the helmet. Going to use Gore Grunta Fur for the hair on the horse as well as the harness. Now using Black Legion contrast paint, we're going to get the hooves. I'm going to make these hooves black. Now we're using Fire Slayer Flesh for all the skin tones. We're getting a healthy amount on there, because we'll be lightening this up in a later step in the highlight stages. Now we're going to use Vallejo brass on what is going to end up being gold, but this is going to be a very different recipe from the brass and copper on other soldiers. It's going to be a much brighter recipe at the end. Other soldiers on the Roman army would have definitely worn a lot of like copper, brass helmets, stuff like that. But Scipio, this definitely would have been gold on him. We're going to use lead belcher for the base layer on the chest plate. Right here, so I'm going to be lead belcher. Along with the chest plate, we also hit the sword with lead belcher, and now we go over everything metal with Nuln Oil. Now we use Retributor Armor and Runefang Steel, both from Citadel, to highlight up the armor. Now I'm going to use Yellow Ochre from Vallejo to start the layering process on the blonde hair of the horse. But if you want the horse to just have brown hair, you could just stop there. Now we're using Buff from Vallejo to do the final highlights on the horse's hair. Now we're using a mixture of Pro Acryl Royal Purple and Vallejo Ice Yellow to create a final highlight layer for the purple plumes and cape. And now, of course, finishing off the skin with Vallejo Bronze Brown and Flat Flesh. And to finish off the Scipio paint job, we're going to do just a touch of highlight of bold titanium white from Pro Acryl on all of the white that he's wearing. Hannibal Barca, like Scipio, is riding out on a white horse, so we're going to do the same undershadowing technique with Stonewall Gray, as well as adding in the Citadel Apothecary White contrast paint to the horse. Now we're using Corax White and Bold Titanium White to highlight back up the horse. And now we're going to take Black Legion contrast paint and we're going to cover part of the plume of the helmet at two different parts, so that part of it's going to be 2/4 of it's going to be white plume, 2/4 of it is going to be black. And then we're going to do the horse's hair as well as the hair on top of his head, as well as the hooves. Now we're using Army Painter Speed Paint 2.0 of the Purple Swarm for the cape, as well as the harness and the saddle. Now we take a watered down neutral gray from Vallejo and we're going to apply this to all of the fur, including the fur wrapped around the horse. Now we use Gorg Fur contrast paint on his sandals, as well as anywhere that's going to be gold. Now I've put Apothecary Gray contrast paint on all of the fur, and now I'm going to start with the gold. We're going to be using Vallejo Brass for the base layer for all gold. Now we base the sword up with Lead Belcher before we're going to shade all of the metal down with a Nuln Oil Wash. The Nuln Oil Wash is going to get into all of the crevices and really just darken this whole thing up so that the highlights really stand out. Now we highlight the gold back up with the Retributor Armor, and the sword back up with rune fang steel. Now, using basalt gray from Vallejo, we're going to, in the direction of the hair, just highlight the hair on the horse as well as on Hannibal's head. Now we're going to go in with Nuln oil anywhere we see it as just a little bit too bright of a gray. We can bring it down because we don't want this to be a gray, we want it to be a highlighted black. We're closing in on the end here, and we're at the point where honestly if you would want to stop, you definitely could, and you'd still have a very good looking miniature. But right now we're adding Pro Acryl, Royal Purple, and Vallejo Ice Yellow together to create a highlight for the purple. We're going to use Vallejo Bronze Brown and Flat Flesh to highlight the skin, and then as far as painting, that will be it for the model. Now I've put the Vallejo Desert Sand on them, and this is it. This is the finished product, Hannibal Barca, and this is definitely a high quality model, and I think that this is a good paint job. This is also, here we go, can we get Scipio? Yeah, there's Scipio. Finished Scipio Africanus. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting more videos out about these guys, more Warhammer, and potentially more bolt action, especially with Season 3 coming out. This has been the Emperor's Painter, and I'm out.